Vishal, a very good afternoon to all of you. I welcome you all on behalf of this Avanta Center for Competitiveness. Today we are going to discuss for 1 hour on Pokayoke. So Pokayoke, before I enter exactly into the Pokayoke, I have to just touch a basic background, why Pokayoke, where it's to be used, how it's to be used. So Pokayoke is part of integrated quality management system and control for the organization. The objective is to provide zero defects products and services to the customer while capturing 100% complaint and acting on 100% complaints. And this talks of the new concepts of 100% inspection, and Pokayoke is part of that. So most of the industry still is living the 1980s way of doing inspection. So before I enter into that mode, I will just discuss for the understanding part the role of, there are very few organizations who today talk separately for the role of quality assurance and quality control. So generally quality assurance is an offline activity, and it has to design quality system and develop the required quality system. I will just talk of few of the key points which quality assurance take care in an organization. First thing is the customer complaint handling that is taken care by quality assurance department. Customer complaints investigation, ensuring effective implementation of countermeasures, calibration, deciding the frequency, calibration, new product quality, whenever there is new product is coming, that is taken care by quality. The doc audit, process audit, supplier quality assurance with respect to vendor audits, making a schedule for the year and following it. Then the system audit. System audit here means whatsoever systems we are designed with respect to ISO, with respect to other certifications organization is holding, and my manufacturing process. So all those system audits has to be taken care by quality assurance. And they have to ensure that the hourly quality is sustained by our systems which we had developed. There should not be very high variation in the quality with respect to hours within a shift. They have to ensure system certification. They have to work as a MR. They have to implement horizontally whatsoever things are written in the system. They have to take care of the customer specific certifications, APQP, Advanced Product Quality Planning, PPAP, FMEA, all these things, measurement system analysis are taken care by quality assurance. So quality related trainings, whatsoever trainings are needed to the quality department, quality control department, the production department are taken care by this quality assurance. Selection of appropriate equipments that has to be selected for the organization is taken care by quality assurance. So first thing is that we should have separate quality assurance department, and this department should report directly to the CEO or the managing director of the organization. This department cannot report to the production department. The second part of quality is the quality control, and this is an online activity, and objective is to sustain the given quality level which is defined in the system. So on the daily basis, hourly basis, they are doing the checks as per defined by quality assurance. And objective here is that the ownership of the quality is with the operator, and they have to ensure that operator is owning that ownership. They have to ensure that SOPs whatsoever are defined by the organization are followed and are right. Whatsoever is written in the SOP is followed. They have to deploy the quality plans, whether hourly inspection schedule or 2-hourly inspection schedule. And wherever there are issues, they have to create quality alert communication so that operator knows that this is the problem which is reported at my customer end, and they try to give this first-hand information to the operator by creating some alerts, and we say it quality alert communication. And the basic objective is to maintain the given quality level. So this quality control and quality assurance, these two are separate departments, have separate responsibilities, and this quality control generally reports to the manufacturing head. Now I'll come to the concept of 100% inspection. Today people understand 100% inspection means manual inspection, or most of the companies today understand inspection means manual inspection. So that's not the concept for the future. That's not the way the companies are doing it. So 100% inspection means inspection of all CTQs. So the first thing here comes is the critical to quality. So all those dimensions which are mentioned by my customer, that these are critical on the drawing, has to be inspected 100%, but not by manual inspection. So, and that the first thing which important is that the company need to understand what are the CTQs at the plant level. So we need to do a mapping at the entire plant level. What are my CTQs, whether the product wise, whether process wise. So a complete chart is prepared at the plant level that these are my CTQs, which are defined by my drawing, given by my customer. And if I have to ensure 100% quality, that means I have to ensure 100% inspection of all these CTQs. So they can be achieved by combination of below systems. So first is stage inspection. I will come to it. What is this stage inspection? SPC, we all know, statistical process control. We have to ensure that the processes are above 1.66 CPK level. Then the quality audit. This quality audit talks about dock audit or pre-delivery inspection. Then functional test bed quality, looking at that with respect to function, what are the critical things of this product. Then performance test, what are the performance related things which needs to be delivered by the product. And the manual inspection. These are the kind of inspections which company do to ensure the CTQ. So this CTQ is basically, generally company take it at the bigger picture where all the CTQs for the plant with respect to each product are mapped, and they do a mapping that all of these CTQs, what is the current method of inspection. If I have to give 100% quality, so I have to do inspection of 100% CTQs. Now to do this 100% of CTQs, I'm using various quality methods for doing this inspection. So I will come to this stage inspection. What is this stage inspection? This 100% inspection which I'm talking with respect to CTQ can be done by any of the below things. First is topmost important point is Poka-Yoke. Then it's low cost automation. Then it's vision control, machine control, dock audit, and left out balance maybe 5% or 2% can be done by manual inspection using some instruments. So instead of most of the companies where we are doing still the inspection by manual inspection, we cannot give 100% quality by doing manual inspection, because there are chances that there are going to be some mistakes, and when there is the chances of mistakes, that means we cannot ensure 100% quality. So either some mechanism like Poka-Yoke has to do this inspection, or some automation in the machine itself has to do that inspection, or some vision control system, maybe a camera or something where I'm comparing the two things has to do that inspection, or machine itself has some control which is taking care of the quality, or I have to have some dock audit in between, and the left out wherever I cannot do by this method, I can use the manual inspection. So objective here is that I have to move out. Suppose today my company is having 80% of manual inspection and 20% is the balanced methodology inspection. I have to move out from manual inspection to the machine-based or vision-based or LCA-based or Poka-Yoke-based inspection. Then only I can ensure a consistent quality to my customer. Because man will change. Today he is trained, tomorrow some other person is there. So I cannot give a consistent quality using manual inspection. So because of that, this concept of Poka-Yoke was started by Toyota, that we cannot ensure this consistent quality by doing manual inspection. So we have to move to the advanced stage of inspection, and that can be taken care by Poka-Yoke or other means. So this Poka-Yoke become an important part in terms of inspection. That was the background why Poka-Yoke came into picture. So here, what I will request you is that you should see the entire inspection method in your company, see each and every CTQ is inspected in the company, what is the technique used, whether it's a POCA-UK governed, whether it's LCA governed, whether it's a vision control governed, whether it's a control in machine, or I'm doing dock audit, or I'm doing manual inspection. I will get some percentage. Suppose I'm having, say, 100 points where I have to do inspection. So out of 100, suppose 5 are taken care by POCA-UK as on today, 3 are taken by LCA, 2 are taken care by vision control, 1 is taken care by machine control. Likewise, I will calculate a percentage, that what is my current percentage with respect to manual and other methods of inspection. And slowly and gradually I have to improve this percentage. Say today if I am having 90% manual inspection and 10% by balance tools and techniques, so I have to shift from 10% to say 90% in next 3 years or in next 2 years, so that manual intervention is reduced. So POCA-UK is basically a concept that was started by Toyota, and the person, Mr. Siaggio, who has started this concept, and the objective was that without manual intervention, the defect should not pass through my process. So that kind of foolproofing needs to be done. So the concept of mistake proofing was invented by Siaggio, who was the head for Toyota in quality, and he has developed so many concepts. POCA-UK is one of it. And the objective is to prevent defects from happening. So in simple terms, gati se bhi galti na ho. If even operator wants to do mistake, the system will not allow him to do mistake. So that's the concept of POCA-UK. So he realized that rather than trying to do inspection for each and every CTQ in the workplace, it would be better to prevent defect altogether, so that these things should not happen at all. So if I go to the technical meaning of this POCA-UK, so it's a Japanese word. POCA means inadvertent error. UK means to avoid. So whatsoever mistake are happening by operator, which he is not doing because he is not able to do that mistakes, but it has happened because of the repetitive kind of work. So POCA-UK helps to help that by doing a kind of mistake proofing or kind of fail safing. So idea behind is that the person should be free from that any defect can occur on my process, and he should be practically looking at that I am performing my activity and there is no chance of having any defect in my products, because my machine, my process is taking care of that mistake proofing. So generally, in most of the companies, when we move, we see that people are measuring defects. We put various defects measurements by showing various bar charts, various graphs. So this is 2%, this is 1%, and then we are always trying to eliminate the defects from the system. There are very few companies who try to measure the errors in the system. So error and defect are two different things. And wherever we go in the organization, we see there are various charts displayed, and they're showing that if there is, say, 2% of rejection, or it's 2000 ppm is the rejection, so these are the defects which are contributing it. So we cannot eliminate defects. What we can eliminate is the error from the system. So it is actually an error which is happening to the system and causing the defect. So rather than detecting the defects that has already happened, we should look into that what are the errors which are causing the defect. So if we know these are the 4 errors which can happen in this process, so we can look for a fail-safing or foolproofing of the system so that this error will not happen. And when that error will not happen, that defect will, by default, will not come. So this is the basic fundamental of this POCA-UK approach, that I have to eliminate errors from the system. When errors will not happen, defect by default will not come. So rather than counting the defects, rather than making reports on defect, rather than doing analysis of defects, we have to look at what are the possibilities of error at each and every process level, at each and every operation level, and then break it up to the activity level. So when I can identify that, okay, these are the 4 errors which can happen on this operation, then I can look into the improvement part of that operation. Similarly, we generally look at the symptom and the problems. So we try to close down the symptoms and we don't go into the root cause. So symptom could be, suppose there is a oil which is leaking from the machine and we see the oil on the floor. So oil on the floor is a symptom, it's not the problem. Problem would be leakage maybe in the car or leakage in the engine. So we have to look at to the error side or to the problem side. So what these defects will do, these defects in the workplace will waste my material, will waste my company resources. There's a lot of wastage of time to do rework, to segregate, to again bring them to the basic quality level. And actually nobody in the workforce is happy by creating these defects in the company. These kind of defects, these kind of rejections actually discourage my workforce. And finally, they reaches to the customer and customer again get dissatisfied. I got customer complaint, I got customer returns. And with respect to that, my entire team got dissatisfaction. And we lose a lot of money in satisfying the customer after this customer complaint has came, after doing various kind of reworks at either his place or at my place. So these are the things which we generally encounter in terms of rework rejections because of the defects in my workplace. And at the end of the day, nobody feels happy that yes, I had created 4 or 5 defects in the day. So by implementing this mistake proofing technique, Poka-Yoke at your workplace, we can eliminate rework, we can eliminate scrap, we can pull down cost drastically, we can prevent recalls from our customer, we can retain our customers, and ultimately the cost of quality drastically goes down. It keeps ultimately we increase our profit. So it's directly linked with my profitability, it's directly linked with my customer satisfaction, it's directly linked with my delivery improvement, it directly links with my productivity improvement. So all these parameters, whether it's productivity, whether it's quality, whether it's my cost, whether it's my customer satisfaction, all goes up when I implement this Poka-Yoke concept at my workplace. Now I will just share some of the simple examples of Poka-Yoke. We see Poka-Yoke in daily life at so many places, but actually we don't think of it. Everywhere we go, whether we are moving for a simple trip, we see so many examples of this Poka-Yoke. If I take a simple example, circuit breaker is nothing but a classic example of Poka-Yoke. So wherever there is overload on the electrical system, the circuit breaker basically gives a full proofing that my entire electrical system should not burnt out. And it just breaks the circuit. So just by a simple circuit breaker, I am saving my entire electrical system from overloading. And the entire system is kept safe whatsoever I am connecting to it. So this is the classic example of Poka-Yoke we all see in our daily life. Similarly, if we see the file cabinets, so any branded file cabinet, if we had opened the top drawer, the rest 3 by default are locked. The objective is that the cabinet should not fall onto the floor or the person who is using it. So that's the Poka-Yoke inbuilt, so that the weight at any time with 75% weight is on the back side and 25% weight is on the front side. So these are simple examples which we see in our daily life. A very simple example, classic example is the washing machine. If we open up a dryer in a running washing machine, it stops operating. So it helps in preventing me from the various injuries which could have happened to the person who has opened it. So thus by providing this kind of Poka-Yoke, I am providing safety, I am eliminating the chances of accident or incidents. Similarly, we all observe while we travel to the hotels, so there is a pocket where we put our key. So the key holder is there. So whenever we remove that key, the entire lights are switched off. So though generally in hotel, the customer is not bothered about the power bill of the hotel, but he is bothered about his baggage which is kept inside the hotel. So whenever he has to move out, he has to take the keys to put the lock on. And whenever he has to he will remove the keys, the entire lighting system of the hotel will by default switched off. So this is a classic example of daily life which we again see. Similarly in lifts, we see various sensors. So though there is a board, there is a notice which is written on the lifts that this lift is for maximum of 6 persons and say 400 kg. But still we observe sometimes there are 8 people inside the lift. Though there are restrictions that it can carry only 6 persons, maximum 400 kg. But still people will enter inside. There are 8 people. So one way is that though we had given the restrictions, engineer can say that yes, I had given the restrictions. They were pasted inside and there is no mistake from my side. People have not followed it. Another way is the engineer has thought that I provide some sensor so that this lift will not go when load is more and it will give a buzzer and lift will stop and it will not move until unless weight is within the limits. So somebody somewhere is thinking that even people will do mistake, still the actual accident will not happen. So the same thing we can do in our processes also. So that's the concept of Poka-Yoke. So we daily, these are some of the examples. There are so many examples like that which we see. Even if we see our computer, our laptops, each component will go onto the right slot. I cannot connect a pen drive in the power plug. I cannot connect power plug into the slot of pen drive. So each and everything is designed in such a way so that mistake will not happen. Even we see our briefcases, if we are capped it bottom up and we want to open it, it will not get opened. It will open only when I had capped it properly right so that top is up. Then only it will open. So as a human being, there are chances that we will make mistake. But if some system is taking care, if some system is guarding us, then these mistakes can be avoided. So that's the whole concept of Poka-Yoke. If we bring the same concept in the 100% inspection method in my organization, then I can avoid so many rejections, reworks, or the defects which are created by the operator. Actually, saying defect is not the fault of operator. Defect is the fault of poor process design. Because the designer has not thought that operator can make mistake and he has left it to the operator thinking that the 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours in a day he will produce 2,000, 5,000 components and he will not make any mistake. It itself is the wrong assumption. So today we have to come out from that assumption and we have to put a system into the practice at my operation level so that that person who is working on the machine cannot make mistake even if he wants to do it, or even if by default he has pressed some wrong button or wrong thing onto the machine. I will take some practical shop floor examples on Poka-Yoke. So this is a simple photograph of a company manufacturing doors for automotive components. So earlier what used to happen is there are various models which were used to manufacture on the same fixture and operator put model A in place of model B and the bracket is missed or bracket is there. Those kind of activities used to happen because fixture was same and they were manufacturing 2-door and 4-door model onto the same line. So after going through understanding the error on the process that okay, because this picture doesn't have any system which can do mistake proofing, a limit switch is provided which takes care of the right model. I cannot produce the 4-door model when 2-door model is on the line live in production. So that's how my process can take care of the mistake proofing from the operator. So this is another example where a conveyor carries the product under a pivoting flag. So only a correct assembled assembly can pass below this conveyor. If is put some wrong assembly on this conveyor, that will touch this flag. This is again designed so that the height is with respect to that component only. So if it is high or it is low, in both cases, this, if it is turned on, then that any product which is touching this flag, the sensor will detect it and line will get stopped. So again, I am creating a system so that defect doesn't move to the next process. This is another Poka-Yoke example where there were components of the fender bracket used to got damaged because of the design of the trolley. Because the sleeves of the fender used to get crashed with the arms of the trolley. So the design of the trolley is changed in such a manner that the bracket angle and the trolley arm angle is different. So now in any case that will not mess with each other and that problem will not come again. There's another example of steering lock bracket. Generally, there was a customer complaint from the customer that bracket is welded in a shifted position with respect to the steering head. So since it was a manual activity, welding was done manual, so sometimes operator, there is some spatter in between, or there is no locator to operate, there was some gap, and operator used to forget to put it at the exactly right position. So a guide bolt is provided into the fixture to avoid steering lock bracket shift. So whenever he is putting that steering bracket, he will use that guide bolt, and that will not allow the shifting of the steering bracket. Similarly, there was a complaint that there is a hole missing into the bracket. So there were chances that these brackets which were coming from the supplier used to miss the hole, the punching inside the bracket. So what the company has done is they had asked the supplier that we need all these brackets meshed in a wire or string. So now what has happened is that since I have to mesh each and every bracket into wire or string, I cannot put a bracket which is not having any hole. So at the supplier end itself, it got identified, and those brackets which are without hole will not reach to me. So this is a Poka-Yoke that has been developed with respect to the supplier problems. Now I come to the Poka-Yoke. Now how to go about this Poka-Yoke? So one thing what we had discussed is that we need to do 100% inspection of my CTQs which are critical to quality using Poka-Yoke technique. So how to go about it? If I want to shift from manual inspection to Poka-Yoke inspection, how to go about it? Where should I do Poka-Yoke? What should be the methodology to do this Poka-Yoke? So I will discuss now with respect to the approach used for identifying the Poka-Yoke. Generally, a CFT is formed for Poka-Yoke. These people are from quality assurance, quality control, manufacturing, and design. So a core team is developed which basically works for development of Poka-Yoke. And objective is to do process foolproofing so that that mistake will not happen with the operator. So ideally, if I talk of us in a standard company, during advanced product quality planning itself, when my product is at the conceptualization stage, when I am conceptualizing that product or when I am designing that product, the CFT identifies the processes where due to unavoidable human error, the chances of error are there. So generally we calculate a RPN number, that is risk priority number, where with respect to each CTQ, I give a number that what is the chances of defect at this CTQ. So ultimately, there we talk of two things. The first thing is the rating of occurrence, what are the chances of occurrence of this defect or error, and what are the systems I'm having for detection. So if I have to reduce this RPN, I have to put Poka-Yoke into system that occurrence itself should not happen. If that occurrence, stoppage of that occurrence is not possible, then I will look at how I can make a foolproof system so that it is detected into the next process so that my RPN goes down. So all these processes which are having high RPN number, if I had already done that RPN numbers for all of my operations, so I can look for high RPN numbers. That is the one way how I can start for doing Pokayoke. Where to implement this Pokayoke? The one way is I should look at my all RPN numbers and try to put Pokayoke so that I can eliminate occurrence or reduction in terms of Pokayoke. The second way is looking at to the customer complaints. Analysis of my customer complaint that also reveals where are the maximum mistakes are happening. So in order to achieve zero defect level of working, CFT should again look at the customer complaints. Okay, this is the area where I'm having maximum complaints in my processes. And then I go to the process level, I look at the operation, I see each activity and all those activities where there are chances of mistake, I identify them and select them for mistake proofing technique, and then slowly and gradually move for the implementation of that Pokayoke. But while doing this technique, whatsoever technique we are using for Pokayoke, we have to see some basic criteria while doing Pokayoke. The first thing we have to take care is it should be inexpensive. Suppose there is chances of error in the system and I'm saying that, okay, we will bring a robot and that robot will take care of this error and this error will not happen with the robot. That's not a Pokayoke. Putting a robotic system is not a Pokayoke. Whatsoever idea I'm coming out, it should be inexpensive. Then it should be based on common sense. Here common sense means that I should understand how this error is happening because of his hand movement, because of his leg movement, because of his wrong placement of component, because of his specific activity, so that that particular activity is taken care, not the entire operation is taken care. So we have to, that means we have to discuss with the first line employee or the operator. We have to observe him. We have to make a video of that operator that, okay, this is the reason why this error is happening. So I have to discuss with the first line employee or operator. I have to make a video recording of that process that this is how it is done. And I have to observe all these things and then only I will come up with the solution. So another thing is that I have to, when I'm looking at a Pokayoke, I must eliminate completely the occurrence of that activity which is causing that defect. And if that is not possible, then I have to see that how I can completely eliminate the detection so that it's 100%. If the component is manufactured, it's 100%, it would be detected by my system. Then only it will be called as a Pokayoke. These are the basic guidelines when we look at developing the work sections for Pokayoke. So the first is I look at my RPN number, risk priority number, where my RPN number is high, I will go for Pokayoke. The second way is I'm looking at my customer complaint. Wherever there is more customer complaints from, I go to those processes. I have discussion with the operators. I speak to them. I find out the regions of error. I do a video recording. I see that process in detail. And then I take basic ideas from the team. And with respect to the common sense, I come up with the solution for implementing the Pokayoke. Again, after implementation of this Pokayoke, if I want to measure the effectiveness, I have to see at least minimum 1 month that that error is not happening. If still after doing that Pokayoke, if that defect is still coming or that error is still happening, that means my effectiveness of Pokayoke or the action I have taken is not correct. I still need to look into that error so that I have to look at the another alternative ways so that that error should not happen. Ideally, if I done a Pokayoke, then that error cannot happen. If it's an occurrence type Pokayoke and if a detection type Pokayoke, then it should be detected by the next process. So errors are inevitable, but they can be eliminated. And people, as a human being, everybody will make mistakes. It's whether me or any person who is working for repetitive work, who is doing day in, day out, he is bound to make mistakes. So what we can do is we cannot blame him. We cannot start a blame game that this person make more, this person make less. That's not the right approach. We have to look towards Poka-yoke so that these defects should not happen at my workplace by eliminating these errors. Various methods which are used in doing Poka-yokes is guide pins, various locators of different size, error detection buzzers or alarms. And there are various things available today in the market. There are various kind of sensors available: a limit switch, proximity switch, photo sensors, counters, checklists. These are the things which we see, which we can use as a basic idea to develop a Poka-yoke. I'll go into the classification. What is the various types of Poka-yoke and how we can classify a Poka-yoke. So the first category is prediction versus detection. So Poka-yoke can be a prediction type Poka-yoke. It could be a detection type Poka-yoke. So prediction type is when a Poka-yoke is designed in such a way that it helps operator to recognize the defect before it happens, or before it is about to occur. And it's called as a prevention type Poka-yoke. I'll give an example. In a car making company, there were always chances. Suppose in a conveyor, a car is manufactured on a fixture, and every minute he is making one car at one fixture where a welding is happening. Sometimes it used to happen on a fixture. I'm giving you a live example. Sometimes it used to happen by operator without unlocking the car on the fixture. He used to pull it up by using a overhead crane. And since it is unclamped, it's not unclamped, it is clamped from by the fixture and is pulled up the frame of the car. So the entire frame used to got destroyed, or the dimensions reached to a certain level that it cannot be used, the frame cannot be used for actual assembly of the car. So then the idea came that if until unless the fixtures are unclamped, till the time fixtures are unclamped, the EOT crane, overhead crane, should not work. So sensor is provided with respect to the clamping devices that until unless that is unclamped, the EOT crane will not work on that particular operation. So this is a classic example of prediction of error. So we had identified that error, that this person is raising the car frame without unclamping the car onto the fixture. So when until unless that unclamping is done, the EOT should not work. So with respect to that idea, the Poka-yoke was developed. This is an example of prediction type Poka-yoke. In detection type Poka-yoke, this is another classification. In detection type Poka-yoke is that Poka-yoke which cannot actually help the defect on that particular process, but it will detect it into the next process. It will not pass on that defect to the next stage, so that no value addition is done to the component if it is defective. So earlier the better. Generally, if I'm catching the defects at the final stage or at the pre-delivery inspection stage, I'd added so much value to it. So earlier the better. So this is an example of simple example of prevention type Poka-yoke. So earlier the operator used to do drilling at different locations. So suppose he is to this picture 1A, he was not putting the component properly onto the fixture, and the drilling was done at incorrect position. So what the engineer has done is he has provided 4 pins where he has to put the component in between. So component will rest at the right position, and drilling, he cannot do a drilling since the component will not go out of these pins. So he cannot do a drilling at wrong location. So this is another example of prevention type Poka-yoke. Similarly, there was a customer complaint that the operator was supposed to do 4 drills in a plate. Sometimes he used to forget 1 or 2. He has done only 3 drills or 1 drill or 2 drills and 2 are left. So in the next process, a fixture is developed that there are 4 holes. There are 4 pins and the component has to rest on those 4 pins. So until unless there are 4 holes in the component from the last process, this component will not rest in the next fixture. So this is the example of detection type Poka-Yoke. The next method of classification, B, is Poka-Yoke classification with respect to type of system used. So whether it's an alarm, or it will shut down the line, or it's a control. Some control is provided. So alarm, we all know it's a signal in form of buzzers, which generally we used to see on various paint shops. When a component reaches, when the temperature of the oven reaches a certain level or certain time, an alarm is given. A classic example is on our washing machines. So when washing is over, machines give an alarm, so that the person who is using the machine, he understands that my washing is over. So it could be a sound, it could be a blinking light, so that the person who is there, he gets that, he goes to that abnormality, he understood it, and he can take further action. So alarm is one of the very simplest form of Poka-Yoke, which avoids the excessive heating or excessive time given to any process. So it is related to, generally it is given when my process is related to time. So it helps in a very good way when I have to relate something with respect to time. So I'm doing a barreling process, I'm doing a painting process, I'm doing a painting process where it is manually controlled. We can use these kind of things. Second method is the shutdown method of Poka-Yoke. So in this method, basically this Poka-Yoke shut down the entire system. So whenever there is a defect, this entire system is shut down. Or whenever that thing is predicted or detected, the Poka-Yoke shut down the entire system. It could be with respect to safety of machine, it could be with respect to the safety of component or safety of man. So generally we see various Poka-Yokes inbuilt in machines, whatsoever we purchase. There are various sensors which are provided on presses. So suppose there is a hands inside in the press, and operator, even if he has put the foot pedal on, the press will not move. So it just stops at that, it senses the hand, and when hands are not there only, then it moves. So it's a kind of emergency kind of thing which is provided. Even we see it into the lifts, some emergency, we put a shutdown. So similarly, we can add some kind of, if my need is that shutdown will eliminate the chances of defect or chances of error, I will go about shutdowning the entire operation. Suppose a conveyor, I'll take a classic example. There's a company where their motor of the conveyor used to burn once every month. And the reason was conveyor is stuck somewhere, and the person is not able to understand that conveyor is stuck and motor with respect to gearbox is running continuously, and there is a lot of load onto the motor. The entire motor used to got burned. So what sensor they have provided is the overload sensor with respect to the motor. So whenever there is a overload onto the motor beyond a certain limit, the entire system will shut down. So I had saved breaking of my conveyor, I had saved burning of my motor. The third method of Poka-Yoke is providing some control. Control in terms of some vision control, some kind of camera or some kind of comparison, where that control will help me, that operator who is working again onto the process will not be able to do that effect. Coming to the third method of Poka-Yoke is contact method. I'm using direct contact with the component, or some fixed value method, or the motion reading method for Poka-Yoke classification. So the first method, contact method, is basically, this is a method where I'm using a Poka-Yoke where my component or my machine is in physical touch with that Poka-Yoke device or the system which I had developed. So there is some sensing device which is physically in touch with the component and taking care of the mistake proofing. It could be a guide pin, it could be limit switch, photoelectric beams. So it's generally, it's contact method of take advantage of the parts that are designed with an uneven shape, so that those parts cannot be kept top down or down up, so that they sits in the right way into the fixture. So this is an example, classic example of a component. You can see in the right hand side is the correct method of putting the component onto the jig, and there's another method where he can put incorrectly. So what Poka-Yoke company has done is they have provided a limit switch that will turn on machine only when the protruding neck is positioned where it is supposed to be. So you can see by the figure itself that wrong product, incorrect product cannot be set onto the jig. And until unless the product is kept correct position onto the jig, machine will not operate. So even if an operator is new, even if he is not trained, even then he cannot do this mistake of putting the product right onto the machine. Second method in this C category is fixed value method. So fixed value method is a very common method which is used by various companies for doing Poka-Yoke. The classic example is petrol pump. You can recall 5 years back or 10 years back when every time you used to fill your cars or your two-wheelers onto the fuel pump, if you are purchasing a petrol of 1000 rupees, it is either 998 or 1000.21. You are losing, or either you are losing or they are losing. So every time the person who is filling the petrol, he needs to be very visual that now, okay, it's 800 now, it's 850 now, it's 900 now, it's 920 now. And even the time for filling was more because it's all his expertise which used to take care of the exact right delivery of fuel to the customer. See it today, he just put a number. You put it either in terms of money or in terms of liter. You put 1000 rupees, he will just, before starting the machine, he will put a 1000 rupees value into the machine. And machine will by default stop at 1000 rupees. Neither 1 paisa below nor 1 paisa above. So this is giving exactness to the customer. Plus the operator who is filling your car or two-wheeler is totally free of tension that he can give more or he can give less. This is a classic example of fixed value method. The another way companies use is, suppose in a car industry, if I take an example, operator is doing welding of say 42 points, he has to do spot welding. And for each car he has to do 42 points spot welding. Every time he cannot count. If he's every 1 minute one car is moving, he cannot do every minute 42 counts. So either he will do 45 or he will do 38, or in chances he can do 42 also. There are again chances that he is doing either more or less. If he is doing more, it's loss to the company because against 42 he has done 45 welds. So companies, for each weld company there is a cost. So each time he is putting more money, or in case he is putting less, then there is a concern for the safety who is using that car. So Poka-Yoke is being provided with respect to that operation, that machine by default, once machine will start, it will by default it will stop after doing 42 weldings. So each time now he is having that now in the back of the mind that I did not need not to count the spots. By default, machine will do right amount of welding and then it will stop automatically. This is again a very classic example of fixed value method. Similarly, some of the companies put some, if I'm doing some, suppose preventive maintenance on my machine, after suppose so many hours or after so many, we see our car indicators where there is indicator, or even our air condition, there is an indicator now, it's the time to clean your filter. Similarly, in our car, there is an indicator which talks about that this is my engine is overheat or it will stop. So we see all these things in various things where somebody has done this Poka-Yoke, that mistake will not happen. And machine or process will stop after reaching to that particular value. Then is the motion step method. In motion step method, I am using a system where I am sensing something with respect to some photo or some movement, maybe with respect to some speed, maybe with respect to some particular color, or maybe with respect to some particular availability of the thing. So this here I'm sensing either less or either high or low, or something which is needs to be there is not there. Again, that line got stopped after that. So this method uses sensors and devices like photoelectric switch connected to a timer, where I can measure the motion. I fix a specific speed or a specific picture or a specific figure, and I tries to control with respect to that, so that this defect is not happened in the future again, is not happening, so that there is no tension to my operator and it is taken care by my process itself. So coming to a bigger picture, if engineers or the process quality assurance start thinking in that direction, that humans will always make mistake, and if we have to stop mistake, we have to look at alternative methods of eliminating errors, eliminating defects from my process, then Poka-Yoke is a very good answer to the organization. And in the future, we cannot depend on the human manpower, and the customer is again not ready to listen that my operator has done this mistake. So that's why this complaint has came. And we will train our operator next time, and next time he will not make that mistake. So that those kind of excuses are the things of past. If we want, we can have proper methodology, proper Poka-Yokes in our inspection method, so that the chances of error are eliminated completely. These are today, if the world has changed in a very big way, and if we try to find any device which is needed with respect to my Poka-Yoke, everything is available in the market, and the prices also has drastically gone down because of the mass usage of all these things. We can have either we can use limit switches, we can use macro switches, we can use proximity switches, we can use photoelectric switches, beam sensors. If we want to sense some physical conditions, we can measure temperature, pressure. So we have pressure switches, thermostats, even speed regulators. So everything is available in the market. The only thing is I have to identify what are the kind of chances of error which are there in my operation level, and accordingly I can select a proper sensing device and I can use it for my Poka-Yoke. And believe me, this is very simple and very low cost activity. This doesn't mean that I'm investing crores or in lakhs. One Poka-Yoke cost average could be maybe 5,000 to 20,000 rupees. And this will completely eliminate the chance of that defect. So with this, I end this session on Poka-Yoke. I will request you to please do mapping of entire not only at the product level, but the entire process level for entire plant, that what kind of CTQ, what are the CTQs. First is understanding of CTQs. What are the criticals to quality to my organization? Mapping of those CTQs. What is the methodology of inspection used for all these CTQs? And